Welcome to Ignorance Unleashed with your host Salvatore Cavalieri. In just 10 minutes, enjoy no-nonsense insights with a dash of humor and absurdity. Approved by his psychiatrist and wife because they agree he needs this outlet.
Hey. Today we're going to talk about the famous cash flow. You know, everybody's concerned, everybody's thinking about cash flow. And a lot of people, especially the young ones, the young investors, not in age, in experience, think this is the only thing to consider. No, there is something else called cash throw off that is way more important. It's a percentage that we'll show it in a different video. But for now, I touched it in a previous session a little bit, but cash flow is not everything. It's bullshit if you think that is everything. Cash flow is extremely important, but for a period of time, you can buy a property that will, the cash flow will turn into positive cash flow, and then you will have an amazing property. But you need to work your ass off. Okay, that means the property needs some help. The property probably mismanaged. The property probably the rent is low because the landlord made friends with the tenants. So he's not charging what he's supposed to charge. So the cash flow, it sucks. You know, it's negative. Then you the investor, the so-called investor who's serious investor, will see that as an opportunity to turn around that rent in that particular building similar to those back there, and you will turn around and you will increase your rent, and then you will have positive cash flow, and you're going to be awesome. But a lot of the groups out there will let you to believe that, as soon as it is negative, fuck it, you go run. No, you're stupid. You should look at the whole set of numbers, okay, and see if you can turn around that negative into a positive, and also make sure that that particular area you're going to invest has 12 economic factors that go into the favor of buying the property. Okay, there's a bunch of videos that I created describing each one of those economic factors that you need to consider first before you buy. So buying a negative cash flow is good if you have a plan, if you know what you're doing, and if you have guts. Most of the gurus out there, they just tell you just don't buy it. Yes, because they want to leave the property out of your hands so they can make the money. Or you pass the information to them and they can buy it. Okay, so just be careful. Run the numbers. Remember this, cash throw off. I'm going to cover that in a different video. When you see the number, you're going to see, oh my God, what the hell? What the hell I've been doing or not doing or just listening to the wrong people? Okay, but anyway, I'll let the numbers speak for themselves when we get to that. But today we're going to cover cash flow. Cash flow is the formula. Okay, I'm going to project here. Okay, very quickly. So cash flow is gross rental income minus operating expenses minus the debt service. As simple as that. That's the formula. Okay, so let's break down the formula into the sections. Okay, so gross rental income could be basically two pieces. Of course, the rent that you collect from a unit or multiple units, 1,000 here, 700 here, 2,000 here, 3,000 here, whatever it is, that you collect. That's the gross income. Okay, to that, you have other sources of income. So don't be blindsided that you only charge rent. You can charge other things. Pet fees is an incredible source of income if you know how to manage. I'm going to do a video about pet fees. Okay, that's a profit center. A lot of owners don't want to deal with pets, and that's a huge mistake. But you gotta know what you're doing, what the laws are. That's going to be a different video. Parking fees, if someone wants to park the car in front of their apartment, it's not for free anymore. Charge $75 per month. People will pay for that. Laundry services. I remember that in some properties, the laundry that you collect, especially for multifamilies I'm talking about, it equals or exceeds, in many cases, the per month rent of an apartment. So if the apartment is renting, one particular apartment is rented for $1,500, well, the amount of coins you collect in a laundry usually exceeds that on a monthly basis, much more than that. So laundry service is extremely important, extremely profitable in buildings. Okay, do not lease the machines, buy them. they're yours. You should get your own machines. Okay, so those are basically kind of grosso modo the incomes that you can get into an investment property. So let's go now with expenses. Property management fee. If you don't have a property manager, not only that you are setting yourself for limited growth. It's a limited belief. You should have a property manager. Your time should be spent looking for the next deal, the next property, creating relationships with good, prosperous, go-getter agents that are going to help you. You making phone calls, not, unclogging the toilet at midnight, okay? If you want to do that, you have a limiting belief, okay? And you will not grow. If you have one property, it's okay. But no, I'm thinking big. If you're going to go for 20, 30 properties, that they need to be managed, especially if it's a multifamily, you need a manager. You will make more money. So don't be on the cheap side. Pay for knowledge, pay for the peace of mind, and pay for your time. Your time is worth a fortune. There is something we can lose the money, we can make it back, but we don't make back our time. Okay. The next one is maintenance and repair. It's very obvious. Things need maintenance. Touch-ups of paint, changing the flappers in the toilets, and things are going to repair. Well, the garbage disposal broke. It needs to be repaired. The fridge has to be repaired. So you need to have some funds reserved, about 5% of gross rent, 5 to 10% that you set aside for these things. Okay? Property taxes. The word says it's taxes. You need to pay for that. Now, be careful that if you're going to buy a property, especially if it is especially if you're new to this, okay, the taxes that the current owner is paying is not going to be what you're going to pay taxes, especially if the property appreciated. Let's say, for example, you're buying from someone who had a property for 20 years, okay, and then you go and you buy it, you're going to pay way more than what he paid 20 years ago. So your tax is going to be based on that. So don't be shocked by that, and don't be taken with your pants down, okay? So prepare for a bigger tax bill and take that into account into the calculations when you run your analysis if you're going to buy or not this property, okay? Insurance will go always up. Now, it's very important that you consider natural factors around that particular property that you're interested in buying, because if you're near a very cute river, but this river in summer, actually spring, after all the snow melts and now turns into a raging river, and it's going to take the whole building or house or whatever you have for rent down the river and stream, then okay, then your insurance is going to be higher. So consider natural factors, the beaches, the mountains, the rivers, anything that can impact the rate, and also if you're going to get it, insurance, because in some places fires, in some places the insurance just is not available, or just very limiting availability. Okay. HOA fees. Try to avoid being in an HOA fees, because at the end, especially condominiums, you have those condo commandos that can change the rules, really easy, and can turn your investment into a nightmare. Okay. Besides that, some condo boards, they take 30 to 45 days to approve someone, and meanwhile your property is not producing anything. Stay in HOAs that are friendly, that they charge you maybe $30-$40 per month. That there is little paperwork. Okay, so you have some freedom. Okay, or even better, if you buy a building like that, you put the rules. Like the one back there. Vacancy rate. You have an older tenant moving out, then you have a new tenant moving in. There's a gap of time. You try to shorten that as much as possible. That's why you need a capable property manager to really tie that up to that. You have one person leaving on a Friday, and on Saturday you have someone moving in. Okay, so that's the art of a good property manager. But anyhow, that's why it's worth paying that. But anyway, so vacancy rate, consider 5% per of gross income in your calculation. And of course, you're going to have legal accounting fees. You have leases that need to be written up. You have probably some disputes with someone, etc., etc. And then you have accounting fees. You need to calculate what are those costs for you, depending on the area where you are working. Okay. The next one, debt service, is the mortgage. You can have a bank, you can have a private lender, whatever it is. So typical, the mortgage is a principal plus interest, okay? Insurance and taxes, maybe escrow. So when you pay your monthly mortgage, you're paying those four elements: principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, okay? Then on your own, if you're an HOA, you have to pay the HOA. Okay. Anyway, plus the other very expensive for sure. But basically, the formula for mortgage is typically payment plus the P plus I, which is the principal interest. Okay. And sometimes you have the escrows. Okay. Capital expenditures. This is when you have major, infrequent upgrades of the property. For example, replacing the roof. Depending the type of roof, depending the type of, in what part of the country you are, you need to change the roof sooner or later. But, it's going to be maybe $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 bill. You count from that. And ACs and heaters, those things, they last, but 10 years, 15 years, again, depending on the use and maintenance they have received. So you need to account into that. And of course, large renovations. At the beginning, when you had this property, it was all nice and all modern, but now you need to change the cabinets because nobody wants an older looking cabinet. You need one that is the color of fashion for whatever the time and period and area of the country. Okay, so those are the factors that make up the cash flow formula. You need to consider all those when you do your math. So it's good that you have a good calculator that can calculate this for you. You can look at those numbers really, really, really quick when you're making some decisions, if you offer or not. Okay, with that said, cash flow is not everything. You have properties that have negative cash flow, but if you have a plan with a good property manager and you know that rent is undervalued because the owner befriended all the tenants and the tenants took advantage of him and they always came crying to him and he didn't increase the rent, well, that's an opportunity for you. Okay, maybe the property needs a little bit of paint in the exterior. Maybe you need to do some other improvements. So if you have a plan that is going to turn the negative cash flow into positive cash flow, that is a win-win. Do not listen to people that tell you if it doesn't have cash flow, you move away. That's a dumb decision, really. Okay, so each case is independent. Look if the rent is undervalued. Look if the property needs some update. Look if the property needs to get rid of some bad people. You're going to put new people in, paying more rent. See if you can improve the property somehow that is more attractive to people. So you can turn that negative into a positive within 1 year, 2 years, 3 years span. And on top of, so you're increasing the value of the property by doing that. But on top of that, you need to make sure that this property, it checks the 12 economic factors that I have video going around also here in YouTube. You have 12 economic factors that you need to consider before you purchase a property. So go through those videos and then, and make your right decision. With that said, thank you. Bye-bye.